Tension is mounting within the Social Democratic Front Party in the Littoral region, with basic organs being renewed across the region. And tonight we make a zoom as far as Douala 5 district is concerned here in the economic capital Douala, as party bigwigs in Littoral are battling to unseat Jean-Michel Ninche, whose mandate has expired since 2013. In this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television, Advocate General at the Supreme Court, Paul Abine, says he has not been dismissed as the president of the PAP. The PAP has witnessed some metamorphosis with a new name. Derek Jato will be telling us in this edition, plus get the ordeal of the people of Nkonjok, as well as Bafang, the ordeal they go through traveling from one locality to the other. And tonight we look at the massive killing that took place in Orlando. That was this weekend, where 50 persons were killed. I'll be right back. Good evening, I am Forhan Senchanji. You're watching the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television, broadcasting live from Douala, Cameroon, Equinox Central News Desk. We shall be meeting our reporters deployed all over the national territory for what made news today. We'll begin here in the Littoral region, where party bigwigs, as far as the Social Democratic Front Party is concerned, are battling to unseat the regional chairman, Jean-Michel Ninche. But first, they have to secure delegates, and that is why elections are being organized in the different districts, as district heads are being elected. As far as the regional president is concerned, elections will be coming up in the month of July. Our reporter Christobi has more.
Prior to the Regional Executive Bureau battle for candidates vying for top positions in the Social Democratic Front come July 3, 2016, the Littoral region has just crossed step 1, renewal of basic organs at the electoral district levels. A very important step, says Carlos Gualem, newly elected electoral district chair for Douala 5. He takes over from the voluble Abel Elimbilobe, who withdrew, qualifying the process as unstitched and void of democracy. Electoral battles are thus opened for the control of the SDF party at the regional level, as it goes from electoral districts to regional coordination passing through the divisional bureau. Ngualem holds that John Frundi's political party is simply showing proof of militants' freedom of expression. This renewal of basic organs in the SDF, it should be recalled, ends July 3, as come that day the overstayed Jean-Michel Ninche would equally know his stand at the head of the region.
And party bigwigs across the country, some of them are here in the Littoral region under Honorable Chumelu. As far as the elections are concerned for SDF, he is personally supervising it, as well as other rapporteurs. And still in political news, Advocate General at the Supreme Court, Paul Abine, former member of parliament for the CPDM party, says he is still in charge of the PAP, but the PAP has witnessed some metamorphosis. It was made public to the press in Boya, chief town of the Southwest region, where Derek Chato tells us more.
President Wright, and welcome President of Popular Action Party.
Honorable Paul has changed the name of his political party.
As of now, People's Action Party is known as and called Popular Action Party, which is Lordship Honorable Justice Paul Abine as the sole legal and legitimate national president.
Announcing the change of the party's name in a press conference in Boya, reporters wanted to know what must have caused this political rebirth from People's Action Party to Popular Action Party.
All is that in the interest of the party, we change the name and comply with our constitution, and we comply with the legal provision.
The Advocate General at the Supreme Court of Cameroon, His Lordship Honorable Justice Paul Abine, before now, critics say was a political commander who was dodging bullets from his own army. Some members of his party sat in Kumba, Mehmet Division, in a press conference and sacked Honorable Paul as president of the PAP. Responding to that action, Honorable Paul Abine said those people had no legal standing to expel any member of his party.
Let it be known by all men and all women. That the hungry boys in Kumba, who are only crying after spilt milk, have long been expelled from People's Action Party. The least the present party leadership would do, in their maturity and compassionate disposition, is to reconsider their decision expelling them. Should those misguided boys repent and borrow a leaf from the prodigal son.
From the conference hall to the street of Boya, members of the Popular Action Party sang songs hailing their president.
From politics, we talk economy now, where negotiations are underway in the economic capital Douala for the renewal of the Central Africa European Union Economic Partnership Agreement. Experts are doing everything possible to avoid any negative impact of failing to achieve the agreement. And they are grouping in the economic capital Douala in prelude to the meeting of economic ministers as far as Cameroon is concerned, the 17th of June 2016. Babila Jonathan.
Trade within Central Africa is still lagging behind compared to trade with developed countries outside the sub-region. Experts see regional integration is the major stumbling block to a trade boom in the Central African sub-region. Thus, the delay in the achievement of the Central Africa European Union Economic Partnership Agreement. The strive to preserve both parties' interests is also another factor causing negotiations to tarry. Even the signing of an interim economic partnership agreement between Cameroon and the European Union in 2009, later ratified in 2014, has not yet succeeded to open the way forward.
I think that if we are able to say we will start on the basis of the Cameroon economic partnership with the European Union agreement, it will be possible for them to come back on the table and discuss with us.
According to experts, failure to reach the Central Africa European Union Economic Partnership Agreement will yield negative impacts.
If at the end of the day we are unable to complete an economic partnership agreement with the European Union, then it will be very difficult for us, because we will have at the same time the common external tariff and then a tariff with Cameroon. And that will be very difficult to manage.
And this is why, ahead of the 40th session of the Regional Committee coordinating negotiations for the agreements built for Friday, experts from the different countries are meeting in Douala to fine-tune strategies for the way forward. They are working out a roadmap to achieve the agreement and its benefits.
Goods from European Union will come into our territory without paying any custom fees. And that will be an opportunity for our businessmen, businesswomen, for those who are creating jobs.
For this to be achieved, the experts are thus developing a formula to strike a balance between the interests of the European Union and the sub-region, but also their respective countries.
A year now since inundations described as the worst hit the city of Douala, houses and areas inundated were supposed to have a new facelift. They have barely been touched. Now works in some areas are progressing at a snail pace. The people say they need urgent solution. Details in the following report. The first rains have hit the soils of Douala. The worst ones have begun to show their ugly heads. Rains accompanied by thunderstorms. Then, inundation. The people of Douala, especially in areas such as Makepe Misoke, Vallée Hôpital Général, are living in fear. What will happen to their houses if inundation returns? Where will they go to? And what will be their rock? Local government officials made several promises after the 2015 inundation that areas affected will have a new facelift. 1 year after, the bridge at Vallée Hôpital Général is almost the same. A bridge built with small holes beneath, meant for the passage of water, but water accompanied by dirt cannot pass through. Consequences: Deaths are littered everywhere. Water overflows, it bounds. Houses are inundated. Works have been carried out on this bridge as if the city council was searching for a missing object, with an old heavy-duty truck lying helplessly by the road, watching its handwork. Surrounding residents are disappointed with the situation, saying the Douala City Council has failed to honor its promises, failed to protect the lives of people, consequently failed in its mission. Some wondered whether the government delegate of the Douala City Council has not started implementing the skills he obtained in Paris during the COP21 conference. The situation is critical and needs urgent solution, not promises. Still on our feature page, now we take you to discover the ordeal the people around Nkonjok and Bafang go through, where transport fare, we are told, has doubled as travelers are struggling to cope with the poor state of the road. Jacques Ekwekinge.
Traveling from Nkonjok in the littoral region to Bafang in the west region is a real nightmare to real road users in that part of the country. The coming of the rainy season has made at least 54 kilometers of road linking these two localities very impracticable. Cars, even with four-wheel drive, usually get stuck inside the mud, with occupants and villagers having to use the local tools and their hands and several hours to liberate vehicles stuck in the mud. The most available but not the most affordable means of transport here is the motorbike, whose riders and passengers have to fall off the machine several times before reaching their destinations due to the bad state of the roads.
Il y a des endroits très accidentés que nous on décharge pour pouvoir monter. Donc c'est dans ce cas que quand on force, on doit se renverser totalement.
This situation has automatically forced the hike in the transport fare from 3,500 francs to 8,000 francs at times on a motorbike. Even bridges constructed locally on this stretch of the road are in an advanced state of dilapidation, with many now posing as death traps to road users. Farmers are forced to abandon their farm products by the roadside due to lack of transport means.
Il y a certains jeunes qui viennent et font la formation, ils quittent l'arrondissement parce qu'ils voient que produire ici.
Municipal authorities of Nkonjok say they lack the appropriate means of rehabilitating the roads and bridges. Meanwhile, inhabitants are calling on the government to come to their rescue as concerns the road network in this part of the country.
Reporter Mateng Mangele braved the odds through that route. Thanks for that report. We continue on our feature page. We now talk fasting ahead of Feast of the Ramadan. Barely a week into the fasting period ahead of Feast of Ramadan, small businesses have sprung up along mosques and other Muslim prayer points, selling out food items and beverages to Muslim faithfuls as they break the fasting. 6:30 p.m. Indira Ayuk.
As early as 5 p.m., persons hawking food items including flour balls, pancakes, pap, beans puffs, popularly known as Accra beans, and different beverages take their positions along the mosques, waiting for Muslim faithfuls. They are merely making use of the proximity to their clients.
On vient voir à côté de la mosquée parce qu'on a plus de clients ici à la mosquée.
Parce que beaucoup de gens savent que s'ils veulent quelque chose, c'est à la mosquée.
As the Muslim faithfuls break the day's fast in nearby mosques, they easily pick what they want to eat from these ladies who are not lacking in variety.
Beignet farine, beignet haricots, ginger, coléré, l'ananas, on vend tout poisson, les boulettes, les œufs, tout.
To Muslim faithfuls, breaking the fast after close to 13 hours is a big deal. For those who stay with their family members, by 6 p.m. they are home where they break the fast with their loved ones over a table of delicacies.
We break fasting in the evening at 6:30 p.m. and we take pap with pop-off and other. You can take cassava, any other thing that you have that can go with the paps. So after that you eat fruit, you drink fruit juice, we eat our food, we eat together.
It may be intriguing to know that even non-Muslims too take this period in the Muslim calendar as prescribed by the 5 pillars of Islam very seriously.
Only I am a Christian, but I usually come and visit the Muslims during this period. As I came, they were already trying to break their fasting at 6:30. We have taken perhaps some light fruits, then later we ate.
Most of the traders around the mosque, who are themselves followers of Allah, say the business is quite lucrative, though it is a seasonal one.
C'est par rapport au mois de Ramadan jusqu'au vent. En dehors de ça, je ne vends pas.
Seulement pendant les périodes comme ça, là, moment du Ramadan.
During the sacred period for Muslims, which lasts 29 to 30 days, they begin fasting at 5 a.m. daily and only break the fast at 6:30 p.m. The day is punctuated with prayers.
For that report, Indira Yok. In the second segment of this newscast, my guest tonight is Ndimancho Michael. He is a university lecturer as well as a researcher. With him, we shall be looking at the recent killings in the United States of America. Could the foreign policy of the United States of America be a boomerang effect of what happened at the weekend? That will be in the second part. But coming up next, lawyers of both Anglophone and Francophone expression have created an association called the Coalition of the Willing, and the new association, according to pioneer leader Barrister Kameni, is meant to chart the way forward on conditions of lawyers. But how different is it going to be from the Cameroon Bar Association? Derek Jato.
Lawyers from diverse backgrounds converge on Boya to celebrate the legal recognition of a newly created association, the Coalition of the Willing, abbreviated as COW.
Our membership spans from Yaoundé, lawyers who are resident and practicing in Yaoundé, Douala, Bamenda, Boya, Kumba. We have Francophone of the Bassa extraction, Francophones of the Bamileke extraction, Cameroon from the Betty extraction.
The new association has put up its argument that the bar laws which guide the legal profession are being tampered with by the state mechanisms. COW also hold that it is only in Cameroon that lawyers are not involved in governance.
But look at the type of laws that have been drawn in our parliament. Lawyers are not involved. In Cameroon, when the Cameroon government is signing a bilateral contract with other countries, lawyers are not involved. It is admissible that you see a team of government officials moving out of this country to negotiate contracts between Cameroon and other countries, and they have been teleguided politically by civil servants.
It is based on the above that the creation of such an association was necessary to assure continuity in the profession in terms of ethics and judicial independence. To Barrister John Kamani, the president, the association roadmap has already been drawn.
We want to make sure that we uplift the presence of the lawyer in national life. That's why we shall be addressing certain correspondences to certain segments in government. We shall be meeting them. We shall be meeting the national elections Cameroon to make sure that the lawyers participate in all their activities. We will therefore also try to meet the Prime Minister to make sure that when the Cameroon government is carrying out issues out of this country, lawyer participation should be effective.
Derek Jato ending that report. Before the second segment, this note, Esomba Eyenga, former president of Tonnerre Kara Club of Yaoundé, is no more. He is reported to have, he died at the weekend in Yaoundé. He was a jurist and a fiscalist. He was also an administrator of Fekafoot for several years now. He was a former president of Tonnerre Kara Club of Yaoundé, as well as a vice president of Fekafoot. Esomba Eyenga died less than 24 hours after David Maibi was laid to rest in his native Nyokong village. Ladies and gentlemen, join me now for the second segment of this news. It was the worst scene in the United States of America since the 9/11 in 2008 and 2007. Just about 32 and 25 persons were killed in the US of A following massive shooting. Since 9/11, never have people died. Like 50 persons that died at the weekend, 53 injured. My guest tonight is a university lecturer. He is a researcher. Good evening, Dimancho Michael.
Good evening, for Hansen.
It's a pleasure having you tonight.
Pleasure is shared.
50 persons dead, 53 persons injured.
A series of happenings in the United States of America. 50 dead after the 14th that last December in San Bernardino. And of course, we are experiencing a series of issues with our number one world power called America. And of course, we are beginning to ask questions, and a lot of people are making analysis as to what should be causing these terrorist acts that have so suddenly emerged in this number one country in the world. And a lot of pundits are already meditating on what America should be in for. We have listened to Democratic presumptive candidate Hillary Clinton, who said it is out of hate that people are attacking America. We listened to Donald Trump, who said it is Islamic radicalism. We've listened to Obama, who has also corroborated Hillary Clinton, saying that it is out of hate that people are attacking America. And he has gone as far as postponing his Congress, his rally that he's supposed to pronounce in favor of Hillary Clinton on Wednesday.
So what are you saying? You as a researcher?
I am saying that this is as a result of the injustices, American injustices in the world. It's as a result of American foreign policy, which has to be reformulated if America has to know peace again. It's as a result of American foreign policy. For Hansen, I should say this loud and clear, that the enemy that is living in America, it is just a transmitter, is a catalyst of what is happening, what is other people are doing out of America. You realize that there are a lot of people now who are living as orphans. There are a lot of people in Syria who are living as orphans, as widows. And of course, if you talk to anybody in Libya about America, a Libyan will say America is a devil, is a Satan. And of course, after taking analysis of all these things in Syria, in Libya, in Afghanistan, in Iraq, you shouldn't expect America to know peace, because they have so much stirred a storm in the teacup and issues are boiling.
But America is fighting for to maintain peace in the world.
What peace? What peace is America fighting to maintain? America is fighting to maintain its superiority, its supremacy in the world. Is not fighting to maintain peace. You should get to understand, for Hansen, I have said this time and time again, that if America has to be the country that is regarded as a country, a democratic country, it is far from being what some people think, that is because America is too democratic that things are happening. We know about the lax gun laws that are in America, but that is not the case. Let us look at the causes of these things. What is causing people to develop this so much hatred for America now? Something is happening. You realize that America is, in order to remain supreme and strong as it is, it has to create war. And what we are saying, you remember at the other time I was saying that America's budget, defense budget alone, is $330 billion. And I have given a proposal to America to say, if America has to be that country that people admire against so much, then one of these presidential presumptives should come out and say, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to say I'm sorry to the world for the harm that America has caused to the world, and maybe slash the defense budget even up to 90% and be able to pay as reparation to this country that America has set apart, has created conflict. And of course, we really don't need to ignore this, because this has been causing a lot of havoc. America has done so much havoc in the world, and it is because of this that people are developing anger, and anybody is fit to do anything. Imagine those children living today as orphans. They can do anything, thinking about the crisis that the Americans have created here and there because of selfish interests. I mean, anybody can be able to do anything at any time.
But the Islamic State has claimed responsibility of what happened. Meantime, there are equally news that the person who carried out the act says it is because he saw how some gay persons were kissing on streets and all that. Does it also mean that America equally has to look at as far as internal policies are concerned?
Of course, internal policy. America is living in a kind of a free world whereby people are saying that they just need need to be happy. People just need to be free. And I'm asking myself whether you can only be free under the law. And it is not just in anything. It's like the biblical story whereby your child cannot ask for bread and then you give him a stool. Or maybe because your child needs something, you give. People need to be, in America, is like freedom is that kind of a thing where people can just gain freedom in just anything. And I remember I listened to this young man who committed the act on Ma, and he said he was so disheartened when he came out with his wife and his children on the street and he saw a man kissing another man in front of his wife and children. And that from there he started developing hatred. And this man was already actually questioned some 3 years ago because he has started developing and expressing this disregard and this hatred for the American policies. And it is true, we are saying that America, apart from its own internal policies that they need to renew, of course, the gun laws, they need to look into that. You are not just free to own a gun. It is not in a society where you are just free to do anything. The issue of the gays, and that some of these things are voted for political ambitions. You remember when Obama liberalized this thing? Remember, even the Republican president that we thought was very radical, George Bush. George Bush didn't go to the extent of liberalizing gay marriages. But Obama came as a Democrat. He became so liberal. He liberalized these things. And you imagine what this will cause maybe to the Christian community, to the Muslim community, who would find this not acceptable in their communities.
Okay, so now the foreign policies of America, that's before we move, bringing in now to our African context, because we must talk about Africa and Cameroon. Can it really affect Africa and Cameroon?
Of course, it can affect Africa and Cameroon, because you remember when Obama came to Africa for the first time, and it was the question of giving aid to America, and Obama was like, okay, if you have to receive American aid, then you have to liberalize gay marriages. You have to allow people to express their feelings. I think that those are issues that touch very much on Africans. If you have to help somebody and you give the person a condition, what do you expect that person to do? Those things are cultural. In our own African culture, we do not admit that. And therefore, we are saying that they are the result of injustices and many of these things that are being caused on our cultures that are causing what is America.
Thank you very much, Dimancho Michael. It was a pleasure having you tonight in this day's edition of the 6 p.m. Prime Time newscast on Equinox Television. It was equally a pleasure being with you tonight in this day's edition of the news. Goodbye, good night. Welcome a new team tomorrow. Good night.